Insects, plants, and reptiles are getting some incredible new support in this next Yu-Gi-Oh set. Let's check out Raika. If you still need a beautiful playmat, you can go to zerodamagegaming.com and use the code SOLEMN for a discount. There's also beautiful deck boxes. So right here we have Raika. Of course, shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh organization for the information. And these cards are actually pretty interesting. So far, they more seem like an engine than a finished deck, but of course, it's only the first few cards we're seeing here. So we have Raika no Marikube, a level 1 Earth, and so level 1 means you can search it 1 for 1. It's a plant with 0/0 attack and defense, so that also has some interesting synergies. It's a plant. We all know plants can be good, especially here in Europe. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second of this card's name once per turn. So, first effect, you can special summon this card from your hand by sending one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand to the graveyard. So the special summon feels kind of like a minus in a vacuum, but there are quite some cards actually in these types that can benefit from this as well. Then this effect though, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add up to 2 of your Raika cards with different names that are banished and or in your deck to your hand except for itself. Then banish 1 Raika card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except insect, plant, and reptile monsters. They already alluded to this being like Tri-Brigade 2 because previously we saw certain decks, you know, locking you with like Beast, Beast Warrior, Wing Beast, and so forth. And now it's time for these other types that haven't gotten that much love in the past to also get their own love. And so the fact that this just like locks you in 3 types isn't that horrible, I think, assuming that those types, you know, have good support around them, which has been the case. The only thing that's really like hurts, I guess, is if you're playing plants, you can no longer do Therion stuff because Regulus is machine. This is just like creating bodies out of nowhere though, so this is very interesting so far. This card seems pretty crazy. Also interesting, I guess this works with Lone Fire Blossom, which is nuts. Then the next card we have Raika no Yahazu Kamikiri. It's an insect. You can only special summon with the first effect once per turn, and then you can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. So you can special summon this card from your hand by placing one of your banished insect, plant, or reptile monsters on the bottom of the deck. So this is more of an extender than it can't just start out of nowhere. And then it says if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Raika monster, you can target 1 level 4 or lower insect, plant, or reptile in the grave, except itself, and special summon in defense position. So again, this seems like a solid extender. Again, depending on the payoff that we're getting. But still, we're already seeing how these cards together are going to do some interesting link climbs and so forth. Then we have a Dark Reptile level 4 here. You can only special with the first effect. So this says you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster from your graveyard. Okay, so this is actually pretty good. Like, you've been fueling your graveyard with the other cards anyway, and now this is like just a free extender, kind of like a preventer in Rescue Ace. And then this other effect is discard 1 plant or reptile or insect, then target 1 phase-up monster your opponent controls except an insect, plant, or reptile, return it to the hand. This card is maybe less interesting, like having to discard to out something, but then it can't hit itself, like it can't hit its own type. So if this deck is ever like a top tier meta threat, this card can't really remove that much. But maybe the extension is important, you know, maybe somewhere in the combo you search this just to have that special summon, I don't know. Then we have the Link monster right here. So this art looks insane, I'm all for it. So this is a fire plant link to 2 monsters including an insect, plant, or reptile monster. Okay, that's relatively generic, so only one of them needs to be the correct typing. This says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Also, you cannot special summon monster the turn you activate them, except insect, plant, and reptile monsters. So again, locking you from here on out. It says you can target 1 Raika monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. Okay, watch out with that, because like every single time in Yu-Gi-Oh history, from what I've seen, whenever a Link monster starts creating bodies on top of itself, it breaks the game. Like Crystron Halki Fibrax, Summon Sorceress, Sprite Elf, Promethean Princess very soon. Every time a card is like, oh, I use 2 dudes and turn it into 1 dude, and then this dude gets another dude. Every time you get something like that, it becomes insane. So again, not saying this will be insane on release, but this is definitely the type of card where you're like, watch out. This can be really good. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do special summon this card, card. Yo, that is crazy. So you can literally make this, get back one of your Raikas, then link this off into a link 3, let's say, place the other thing to special summon this back. That is really good. Like, again, it depends on what kind of payoff you have, but in terms of like body economy and value, this is really, really solid. This also just seems really solid as an engine so far inside these other types of decks, like inside a reptile or an insect or a plant deck. You know, there's very good plant decks already. Insect, I mean, I guess Bee Trooper exists and can be interesting. A reptile, I mean, everyone is waiting for Snake Rain to be good. Maybe this does it, I don't know. Next, we have a Link 3. So this is 2 monsters, including an insect, plant, or reptile. Again, relatively generic. This says you can banish 2 insect, plant, and or reptile monsters from your graveyard. Add 1 Raika trap. So this is going to be the thing that gives you some kind of interrupt, again, depending on what the trap does. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do special summon this card, and then you're again locked into those types. So again, just like in the previous one, like this lets you link climb higher and higher into stuff, like for basically free. Also, interestingly, you do not even need Raika cards. The previous one, no, none of these cards' second effect required a Raikas. So you could just splash this into like a non-Raika deck, and then play the Raika trap as the interrupt. Again, we don't know what the interrupt is. I'm gonna keep scrolling and find out. God, this is good. This seems really good. Okay, next. And then we have a Link 4 right here. 2900 attack, 2+ monsters, including an insect, plant, or reptile. Okay, again, a hard once per turn and so forth. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you can make both players unable to activate monster effects in the hand for the rest of this turn. Which decks actually care? Oh, Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace doesn't like this. They can no longer summon Turbulence or Preventer or use Airlifter or use Impulse. Okay, hand traps, I guess, but if you're at this point already, that you probably burned through all of their hand traps. Tearlament's Sharon, Tearlament's Kashtira, Fire King cards. Okay, this is not bad. I mean, this is like a weird floodgate, very targeted, very specific. And then it says if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, place it on the bottom, blah blah. Okay, this is the same thing as previously. So you basically can make like the most insane amounts of link fodder. You could make a Link 11 in this deck. The question is, do you have any payoff for this type of engine? And then we have the Link 5. Yo, okay. So again, same thing, 2+ insect, plant, or reptile. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck and or extra deck, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field. Okay, that's crazy. So any type of special summon from deck or extra deck, you just pop 2. Now the question is if they have to, you know, because maybe they just summon 1 by 1 and then they play around this in some way. Okay, and then if this card is in your graveyard, you can target an insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, blah, blah, blah. Same thing as before. Again, the question though is, like, if you bring this back, with the Link 5, you're not really getting much value anymore, right? Like, with the Link 4 and the Link 3, climbing to this 5 was pretty sick. But what are you doing with the Link 5 afterwards? We don't have a Link 7, right? But still, very, very interesting. Okay, and then we have the spell, a continuous spell, really sick art as well. It says you can only use a second effect of this card's name once per turn. Alright, so all insect, plant, and reptile monsters on the field gain so much, and also all other monsters on the field lose 300. Okay, and then you can activate one of these effects, add 1 Raika monster from your deck to your hand, and discard 1 card. So this is a slightly worse searcher. And the other is special summon one of your Raika monsters as banished or in your hand or graveyard in defense position. Oh, so this is a Kashtira Birth. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, this is not a bad search. Wait. Hold on. So turn 1, this is a shitty Rhoda that stays, but then in the follow-up this becomes a Kashtira Birth. Can you imagine if Kashtira Birth also could search for Unicorn for 1 discard? Do you know how many issues that would fix for that deck? I like this. This is solid. All right, I'm a fan. Then we need to check out this final card. This is a trap. So this is what we are searching with the Link 3. It says target cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect, plant, and or reptile link monsters you control with different types, destroy them. Okay, so it's like a weird board wipe. Usually it's gonna be like destroy 1 or 2, I guess. Kind of like with Skyburn. And then if a face-up insect, plant, and or reptile monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there. So except the turn this was sent there, you can manage this card and target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it. The trap is fine. I feel maybe I'm still missing something. Again, this is the first time I'm seeing these cards, but everything else, I mean, you're still playing this because you can search it, but everything else seems crazy. Like, this seems crazy. These link up things. Again, we haven't really seen, like, all of the payoff you can do, and it's also going to depend on which deck you can, like, splash these cards in. But so far, this card seems really custom. The links replacing themselves seem custom. This spell seems really custom. I'm excited for this. I would love to play an insect deck. Like, I know it sounds weird, but I've always liked Weevil Underwood as a character, even though he's like an asshole, right? Like, he sucks. You hate him, but still, like, his design is so iconic, and just the insect thing, I love it. But for so long, insects were kind of just shite. I mean, Bee Trooper was like solid for a little while, and that's it. So I'm down for some insect love right here. I'm also down for plants and reptiles, of course, but still, okay, I'm hype. Let me know your thoughts for these cards in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if you need a beautiful playmat, you can go to zerodamagegaming.com, use the code SOLEM for a discount. I will see you soon. Ciao.